Hi, this is Renee. At YWCA, we're on a mission to move. This is a cool down workout that you could attach to other workouts, or maybe even use it as a standalone if you just want to warm up a little bit or just get moving, kind of maybe on a minimal basis. Let's just start by having a little bit of a boxer shuffle here. Just shift your weight side to side. You don't even have to have your feet leaving the floor if you don't want to. Just have a loose little floppy sort of a jog here. And maybe even roll your shoulders a little bit while you're at it. I got some nice mellow music on here. It works perfectly. Put your own favorite music on too. Okay, let's plant the feet. Let's widen them out a little bit. Let's swing the arms left and right. As if you're just sort of gently tossing your arms to one wall and then the other. Let your shoulders relax a little bit. Turn this into an even slower spin. Let your arms fly out to the sides as you spin. And pivot so that you're putting all of your body weight on one foot and then on the other. Good. All right, we'll stop. Those feet sort of a little bit wider than hip width apart, maybe shoulder width apart. Roll your shoulders a little bit dramatically here, up and around and back. Turn this into a little bit more of an arm roll, so involve a little bit of upper arms here. And then turn it into a full-on arm circle. And you can reach out and stretch out, especially if it's right after a workout. If it's the first thing you're doing in the day, maybe not stretch so far. You don't have to go to the limits of your range of motion. Let's switch directions. Let's start big and go small. So we'll make it a little bit smaller here and get just upper arms involved. And then shoulder rolls only to the front. Let's take a little head roll as if you're rolling your skull around on the top of your neck. Both directions. Nice. All right, make sure your feet are a little bit wide for this next part. Take an inhale, reach all the way up. Now squat down. If you can touch the ground, great. If you can't, get as low as you can. And I'm going to have you stay in a squat and reach your arms up and then stand up. And then we'll squat down again and touch the floor if you can. And if you can't, just hold it out, your hands out in front of you, then reach your arms up, stretching the inner thighs there for a little bit. Reach up. Good. Squat down. Hands down or on the ground. Reach up. Stand up. And now, let's get down there and let's find a way to get the hands to the floor. And maybe it's going to take some really wide feet. Then we're going to walk the hands out. Maybe you're up on your fingertips by now. Lift your chest, and if you have to, maybe use hands on your thighs. Flatten your back, stretch out the backs of the thighs here. And then drop, soften your knees. Let go of your head, give it a little shake. We'll do that one more time. We'll crawl those hands out or up your legs. Flatten your back out. Stretch the backs of the legs, and then let yourself collapse again. Soften your knees, relax your head, shake it out. Let's roll ourselves up now to the top. A little shimmy on the way up. Good. Let's stretch out some of the arms here. Let's take one arm across your chest, pull it in tight, but keep your shoulder away from your ear. Take a couple of breaths here. Now take that hand that you've got, the arm that you've got, the hand attached to the arm that you have, take it up, down your back, and we'll turn this into a tricep stretch. So with some help with the other arm, we're gonna just help your hand down your back a little bit, and maybe even bow your hips out slightly so you can add in a little bit of a side stretch there. Good, we'll release that. We'll take the other arm across the chest. We'll make sure our necks are long. Hold it in tight. Take a couple of breaths. And now we'll take that hand, slip it down your back, use your other hand for some help, and help yourself over, and maybe bow your hips out a little bit too. So if you're reaching down your back as far as you can, and if you can't get down that far, that's what the other hand is for, to help you a little bit. And we'll release that now. Let's take the two hands out in front. Let's crisscross at the wrists and turn your palms together. Drop your chin to your chest and pull those fingertips as far away as you can. We're going to round out the back. You can feel your spine kind of popping up there between your shoulder blades. Take a couple breaths. Now let's release that. Let your arms go. Take your arms behind you now and connect them behind you. Interlace your fingers. Draw down as you pop your chest. Now, some folks are just going to stop right here. Others are going to be able to pull the knuckles away from the hips a little bit as the hips come forward. And others still, if you've got really flexible shoulders and you need more stretch, you can tip all the way over as long as your arms will go probably past perpendicular. But if you're nowhere near that in your shoulders, don't worry. You can just stay right here or pull away if you can. So we've got biceps and front of the shoulders and a little bit of chest stretch here. Excellent. All right, we'll release that, shake it off and roll it out a little bit if you need to. Let's get the rest of the legs. We did a little bit of stretching for the back of the legs. Now let's get the front of the legs. Plant one foot on the floor, spread out your toes, grab the other shoelaces, put them in your palm, and either pull the heel towards your buttock if you've never had a problem with your knee in your whole life, or kick it away if you have. They both work to stretch the quadriceps. Keep your knees in the same neighborhood. That feels good. Let's take one more breath here, and then we're going to release that foot and switch it up. So now that foot gets planted on the ground just so that leg knows it's going to support you as you try to pick up your other shoelaces. So we can either pull the heel into the buttock or we can kick the laces into the hand. Keep your knees together. Take a few breaths. Get ready to let go of this foot and go into my favorite stretch. Take the foot that was just in your hand, put it way back behind you. Separate your feet a little bit left and right. Here's what it looks like from the side, just like a lunge almost. We've got a little separation. Let's pick up the back heel, drop the back knee down, push your hips forward, and then lift the arm up, same side arm as the back leg. And what we're hoping for here is a little opening of the hip flexors and all the way up the tummy. You might lean back a little bit. You could even send that other hand on the opposite thigh back there. This is a stretch I no longer ignore ever. All right, let's swap it out. So we'll step everything together. Step the other foot back, heel is off the ground, dip your back knee, push your hips forward, same side as the back leg, the arm goes up, and you can just hang out there straight away. You can lean back a little bit if you want. You can even twist if you want to and put the other hand. It all depends on your flexibility. But do keep pressing the hips forward. That's what's going to enhance this, I think. Nice. And we'll finish one or two more stretches on the floor. So we'll step the feet together. We'll get ourselves down on our backs so we can stretch lower back and buttocks at the same time. If you need to and like to, you can always rock and roll a little bit. That's a nice way to cool down in any way, kind of get yourself used to laying down here. Let's gather up the knees to the chest. You can either pull them in just with your hands. You could also cross your forearms over your shins if you can get them that far, and maybe even grab your elbows if you can make it, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to pull everything all up and close and roll just a little bit side to side. And now let's release that a little bit and just roll in circles. It's okay to let your knees come apart or keep them together. Roll over the small of your back, both directions. Nice, and let's end this whole thing with one long body stretch. Let's stretch hands to feet. And it doesn't really matter if you wiggle and squirm a little bit here. Put a little length between your hips and your ribs, whatever you do. You can attach your thumbs for a little bit of leverage. You can kind of walk your feet away, or you can arch your back on purpose to get a little bit of belly stretch here. Nice. All right, let's gather up the knees if necessary to rock up to a seated position. And this will be the last one that we'll do. You can just cross your legs if you're awfully tight in the inner thighs. I am. Just sitting like this is plenty of inner thigh stretch for me at the moment. But most folks, I think, will be able to put the soles of their feet together, let your knees fall open, and sit up as straight and tall as you possibly can. We're shooting for inner thigh stretch. So I'm going to sit here, and you folks have, yep, they've got an example of more open inner thighs. All of us, though, the straighter we could sit, and maybe even a little tipping forward, we'll get those inner thighs to stretch. Ha ha ha. Beautiful. All right, I call that a good cool down and a little bit of a stretch and perhaps a little bit of wake me up. Thanks for joining us at YWCA, where we're on a mission to move.